What is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantump. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you're having a really good weekend so far. We're going to talk today about Fusion Strike. And before you click off the video and say, I don't want to talk about Fusion Strike, hear me out. Fusion Strike is a lot better than what I think a lot of people give it credit for. It's got some really cool alternate artworks in it, like Espeon and like Gengar. It's got some amazing competitive play in this set, like the Mew, and like we already said, Gengar, the Genesect, a lot of staple trainers. There's some really good cards in this set. So much so that this set is actually starting to gain some steam. We're looking at $100 booster boxes for Fusion Strike, which we haven't had since this set released. I also think that this set came out during a time where people were very overwhelmed with Pokemon. If you remember correctly, Battle Styles got delayed, which pushed Chilling Reign back a little bit, pushed Evolving Skies back a little bit, then pushed Fusion Strike back a little bit. We also had the 25th anniversary set with celebrations, and we had so many reprints at the end of 2021. We had 2 waves of Evolving Skies, the second wave and the third wave. We had a second wave of Chilling Reign. We had like the 100th wave of Darkness Ablaze booster boxes. We had like the 140th wave of Vivid Voltage booster boxes, plus all these additional waves of celebrations products. I think Fusion Strike just kind of got lost in the shuffle. It came out at a time where people were like, well, there's so much Pokemon. And then the set size, people were freaking out about the set size of Fusion Strike because there were so many cards. The biggest set Pokemon has ever created, and people were really like, oh my goodness, this set's going to be impossible to master. But did you know this set is actually easier to pull a master set than Evolving Skies and Chilling Reign, because the amount of ultra rares in this set is far less than Evolving Skies and Chilling Reign. There's so many alternate artworks in Chilling Reign and Evolving Skies. You're talking about over 100 ultra rares in those sets. It makes it that much more impossible or improbable to pull a master set than what we saw from something like Fusion Strike. And Fusion Strike, I think, is really starting to get the credit that it deserves now that it's starting to gain in price points, gain in popularity, gain some momentum. So much to the point that people are actually thinking maybe this set should start looking at getting possibly reprinted. We're going to talk about that in just a second here. I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We're looking at Fusion Strike, which is almost a year old now, and we're going to look at the last 6 months of data to kind of give us an understanding of where this set is going and where it's coming from. We're starting out with booster boxes here, but you can see over the past 6 months, not huge gains. You're looking at about 10% over the last 6 months, but that's, I mean, you're looking at $10, a $10 jump over the past 6 months when it comes to booster boxes. This set was down in May of 2022, down to $89.24, which is actually a little bit higher than what it was, right? You were looking at wholesale costs pretty much across the board for Fusion Strike. You could find booster boxes for $80, $85 a piece. In May, $89.24. Then it really started climbing a little bit to the point where it hit an all-time high in August of $99.23, kind of leveled off a little bit there, right around that $100 mark. So it's doing really strong, performing extremely well. Lots of competitive cards in this set, like what we're looking at right here with Battle VIP Pass. And this is just an uncommon, and I wanted to bring this up because I think that what makes a set really good, and I've talked about this a million times, is very important to understand, is the ancillary cards in the set. You're not just looking at ultra rares. Ultra rares are great. Ultra rares are fantastic. But when you start having commons and uncommons that are worth more than bulk ultra rares, like right now, this Battle VIP Pass selling for more than the majority of ultra rares in the set, that is the sign of a really good set. When you start having uncommons, rares, holo rares like Lost Origin, for example, with Comfey and Sableye that are doing extremely well, like Astral Radiance having Irida that's doing extremely well. Those cards really make a set great. And if we look at Battle VIP Pass here, what it's done over the past 6 months, you can see at one point in time this card was only selling for 32 cents for its non-holo variant. It has risen all the way up to $2.41. I don't know what the percentage gain is in my head right now, and I don't want to misquote it, but that's a lot. That's a huge percentage gain over the past 6 months. Now that we're having competitive play really kind of gear up, and you're having regional tournaments that feature over 1,000 masters, it's really getting to a point where some of these staple cards are really going to start playing a role in the market. It's something that you want to keep an eye on. If we look at the reverse holo variant, at one point in time, $2.54, look where it shot up to, $4.34. So definitely heading in the right direction for a lot of these cards, which is super cool. Then we look at the Gengar VMAX, and on the bottom, I do have the pop report. Let me move my ugly mug out of the way for you guys so you can see there's only 670 of these Gengar VMAXs in a PSA 10. We looked at data from Hidden Fates, and we saw thousands of PSA 10 copies. If you're looking at a Gengar VMAX, you're looking at only 670 copies of this in a PSA 10. Not too bad, but people are FOMOing like crazy over alternate arts. We're going to talk more about alternate arts in this week Tuesday's video, but people are FOMOing like crazy. They're worried about these cards getting to the point where Umbreon VMAX is, and then they have this fear that they missed out on buying it at a cheaper rate. And look at what Gengar VMAX has done just over the last couple months here. At one point in time, this was down to $100.23. That was back in May of 2022. Kind of stayed consistent at that point for a while, and then August, boom, took off like a rocket. And now it's sitting at $135.14 and constantly rising upward trajectory. So you are looking at a 30% gain just over the span of a couple months, which is absolutely insane. If we look at the Espeon VMAX, 606 of these that exist in a PSA 10, so not a huge number, but again, really the same price point here where it went down up until June of 2022. It was sitting at $103.54 before shooting up like a rocket, and you're looking at another 30% gain, sitting at $131.52 and climbing, really heading in that upward trajectory. We're going to look at Mew VMAX. This is one of those cards in the set that's really hinges on the competitive field, and with a reprint that we basically got in Lost Origin with that Mew VMAX, the Trainer Gallery card, that's going to dip down this price a little bit, and also people starting to lose favor in this because they're going to different decks like Giratina or whatever else might be popular in the format. This one is nosediving, going in the opposite direction of what we just saw from Espeon and from Gengar. At one point in time, this was selling for $32.57. That was back in March, and you can see just really dropped down since then as it fell out of favor, as more packs got open. That's the other thing with Fusion Strike. It sits in a lot of collection boxes, so more and more of these packs are getting opened. More Mew VMAXs are hitting the market, really driving that price point down. You can see now you're looking at a $12.90 price point over the past 6 months, which is not very good. If we look at the alternate art Mew V, really starting to head in the upward direction now after cooling off and hitting a 6-month low in July of 2022. Only 293 of these that exist in a PSA 10, so not a whole lot of them. This fell down to $36.38 in July. Its 6-month high is $46.71. So you can see it's heading back in that direction, but still relatively cheap right now, sitting at $40.39, but starting to move back upward. We talked about buying the dip not too long ago. It'll be interesting to see if this Mew V dipped off at that $36.38 and now it's heading in the upward direction. If we look at the Mew VMAX, the alternate art, 394 of these that exist in a PSA 10. At one time, this dropped down to $63.85. Again, it'll be interesting to see if that dip happened in July, August of 2022, where it hit that $63.85 mark. At one point in time, this was selling for $78.37. That was back in May of 2022, and now it's heading back in that upward direction, sitting right in between its 6-month high and 6-month low, currently at $69.42. The Celebi V starting to take off a little bit. This card got really cheap. You can see it was down to $20.81 in July, sitting much closer to that 6-month high of $28.86, currently sitting at $28.17. I love the artwork on this card, and like a lot of other alternate arts, really starting to take off right now. 230 of these that exist in PSA 10. If we look at the Genesect V, the Breakdancing Genesect, only 77 of these that currently exist in PSA 10. It did drop down to $20.68. At one point in time, it was selling for $28.30 back in March of 2022. Really started trending downward. Now might be turning around a little bit. We'll see again if that's the dip right there in August, sitting at $23.70 currently. The last card that we're going to, or one of the last cards that we're going to look at, is the Grass Energy, the secret rare. A lot of secret rare energies starting to trend upward. If you look, the Darkness Energy is another perfect example of this. As competitive play continues to gear up, some of these secret rare energies really start to take off if that deck is doing well in the format. It's sitting at $11.75 currently, much closer to that 6-month high of $12.25. $8.65 was its 6-month low, which it hit in July of 2022 before really starting to trend back upwards. Then we've got the Gold Training Court. You can see an upward path here, upward trajectory. At one point in time, this was down to $7.30. That was in May of 2022. Real nice natural organic growth that we've seen now over the past 6 months, sitting at $10.03, not too far off of its 6-month high of $10.56. And the last one that we're going to look at now is the Mew V, another card that is really hinges on competitive play and how it does in the competitive field. It's sitting currently at $5.11, which really isn't bad. We talked about ancillary cards before, those lower end ultra rares, those uncommon cards that might have a little bit of value that are more commonly pulled in a booster box. At one point in time, this was down to $4.30 in July of 2022 before really starting to kind of take back off, sitting at $5.11 right now. At one point in time, it was at $7.07, so still well off of its 6-month high, but definitely trending in that upward direction. So Fusion Strike, very, very interesting to see how it pans out moving forward. Again, a lot of product that still needs to be opened with all the product that's in the collection boxes that are out there, but it'll be interesting to see how we see those booster boxes perform in the upcoming months. If you do like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm. Go back and watch the video that we just posted on Friday because we are giving away an ultra premium collection, the Charizard box, as well as a Champions Path ETB, and you got to watch that video to find out the information on that. So guys, thank you so much for everything. I will be back on Tuesday. Until then, peace.